Living without an expiration date. Welcome. This is a space for honest conversations about career disruption, identity, and what it feels like when the path you thought you were on suddenly changes. Today, I want to talk about something that doesn't get nearly enough attention: the emotional weight of starting over. Not not resume updates, not networking strategies, but the quiet internal experiences of losing a role, a title, or a sense of direction, and trying to stay steady while the ground feels like it's shifting under you. If you're in the middle of that right now, I am glad you are here. There's a shock beneath the surface. Career disruption often arrives with a kind of a shock, even when you see it coming, even when you know logically that organizations change and roles evolve. There's still a moment when it becomes real, when the calendar is suddenly empty, when the email access disappears, when you realize the place you spent so many hours of your life no longer needs you in the same way. At that moment, it can feel deeply, deeply personal. It can trigger questions that go far beyond work. Questions like, am I still relevant? Am I still needed? Did I do something wrong? Those questions don't always come from logic. They come from attachment. We attach parts of who we are to what we do. And when one shifts, the other feels unsettled. Naming the emotional landscape, there's a wide emotional landscape in this season, and it doesn't always follow a neat order. There can be anger. There can be anger at a decision that felt unfair, at a system that moved on without you. There can be grief for the team you won't see every day, for the future you thought you were building. There can be fear about money, about time, and about how long will this chapter last. And sometimes there's even relief, which can come from its own kind of guilt. One of the most grounding things you can do in this season is simply name what you are feeling. Don't fix it. Don't analyze it. Just acknowledge it. Emotions tend to get louder when they're ignored. They soften when they're recognized. There's a hidden pressure to be okay. There's often this unspoken pressure to handle the season gracefully, to stay positive, to stay optimistic, to be present, to present yourself as confident and composed, especially if you spent most of your career being the capable one, the leader, the problem solver. But carrying emotional weight quietly doesn't make it lighter, it makes it lonelier. One of the most human things you can do is to let at least one person see where you really are. Not the version you post online, not the professional summary, the honest one. The one who's unsure, who's tired, or just trying to figure out what comes next. You need to create emotional anchors when so much feels uncertain. It helps to create a few emotional anchors. These are small, steady things that remind you that not everything in your life is in transition. It might be a morning walk, a regular coffee with somebody who knows your story, a journal you write in, even if it's just a few sentences. These aren't productivity tools, they're grounding practices. They tell your nervous system some things are still stable. And stability, even in small doses, can make the bigger questions we feel more manageable. One of the most difficult emotional shifts in this season is separating your worth from your work, your worth from your role. For years, sometimes decades, those two things can feel tightly linked. When somebody asks, "What do you do?" it can feel like they're really asking, "Who are you?" But this chapter offers a quiet opportunity to challenge that connection. You are more than a title. You are more than a level on the org chart. You are more than a line on a business card. Your value isn't measured by how quickly you land the next role. It's measured by who you are in the lives of the people around you. And that hasn't disappeared. Pay attention to the story you tell yourself in this season, because most of the emotional weight doesn't come from what's happened. It comes from what we say it means. Example, this means I fail or failed. This means I'm behind. This means I'm running out of time. Try gently shifting the language. This means something has ended. Not everything that ends is a judgment. Sometimes it's just a transition, one that doesn't make sense yet. You don't have to turn this into a positive story, just a fair one. If reaching out to people feels heavy, try simplifying it. You don't owe anyone your full story. Sometimes all you need is one honest sentence. I'm in a bit of transition and could use a conversation. A comment like that, that's enough. Connection doesn't require a polished explanation. It just requires a door to be opened. If I'd like to put out an invitation here. If you're in the middle of this season, I want you to know you don't have to carry it quietly. If you've lived through a career disruption and feel open to sharing what you've learned, I'd welcome a message from you. You don't need a perfect ending. Perspective is more than enough. If you feel like it's a little too raw, or maybe there's some issues that you want to keep in confidence, then reach out to me. What I would do is I would interview online, but not, and then I would review that interview in a post like this, where you would be anonymous. Because sometimes while you're in this transition, and some of the story you want to tell requires a certain amount of anonymity. Just remember, career paths change, plans shift, chapters close, but your life doesn't come with an expiration date. Thank you for spending this time with me. New conversations are shared every Monday. Until next time, be patient with yourself. You're not behind. You're in the middle of becoming. You are now seeking your next. Thank you. If this post would be helpful to somebody you know that's going through a career transition or disruption, please feel free to share it broadly.